Hello, I would like to do another lesson, and this lesson is on how to paint anything and everything. What are the basic principles of all subjects if you want them to look realistic? Let's start out with this landscape. So here's a photograph of some mountains. The first thing we do in all subjects, any subject, is portrait, landscape, still life, flowers, animals, whatever it is first of all get the drawing right. So if this is our photograph, or even if you're working on location, the first thing we need to do is we need to draw this out. So you can kind of see this here, but I'm going to, the more accurate the drawing, the better. So if we have some mountains coming down here like this, and then this is going to go down here like this, and like this, and then we're going to put some trees in down here. Now that's, I don't know if you can see that, that's a very quick drawing, but that is essentially what is happening here. So as we try to paint this, as you look at what's happening here, take my brush, and the first thing we see is we have a lighter blue wash, or a reddish wash right back through here, make it a little bit redder. And so if you can see that here, this is just a small sketch, but the slower we go and more carefully our drawing, the more accurately, this will look like that. So we put that down, and how we do it is, of course, there's many ways to do it, but when I teach, it's not so much how you do it, just get it down. I'm going to clean my brush out. I'm going to soften up this edge here like this, and that's it. I have a lesson on how this works, but basically we soften that edge. We've got to get that to fade out like that, okay? And then that has to dry. So that's this section back here. So the first thing we do is we draw that shape, we paint it, and then let me dry that off. Okay, so we dry that off. So that's dried off. I dried it off with a hairdryer. Now we're going to paint the next stage. Now the next stage is a darker mountain here. And so we go to a darker color where we know what to do by looking at our subject. It's not so much how we do it. This same approach works in oil painting, pastel, any subject. It's not like the technique is the make or break thing here. So then we put a darker color in through here like this. And we're just, remember, this only works if we're trying to paint what we see. If we want to change this and make it different, then it's a different process. So there's our dark. This goes across here like that. Then it comes down, and it comes down here like that. And then it gets lighter. So again, in oil painting, we get that lighter in a different way, pastel, whatever here. In watercolor, I'm going to clean my brush out, and I'm going to lift the paint off with a cleaned out brush so that fades out, okay? So that's the step number 2 for that. Now let's dry that off. Okay, so the last step is to paint these dark trees. Again, in all subjects, get the drawing right. There's 2 mountains there. We need to get them drawn right, get them in the right place. Then the trees are darker. We have to get those darker. I'm doing this very quick because I want to go through a number of different subjects. So we get a nice dark color here. And that's the main thing. This is called the value. So we get these trees in here, and we put those trees in here like this. And then the trees will pop up like that, and they come up higher like this. And again, we can use a tiny little brush and go slow, but the main thing is that these trees go across here like this, and then as they come up, they pop up down here like this, and there's, it's not the technique. I mean, technique is nice, but technique is not going to help us paint this the way it looks. So essentially, right there, if I outline that a little bit, that is what you call a quick sketch, but that's essentially exactly the way it looks. So that's a quick sketch. Here's the photograph, and then here's where I did it more carefully. So here's the painting, and then again, here is the photograph. So again, the key thing on all subjects, if we want it to look the way it looks, is get it drawn right. If you have to trace it, then you paint it. And you can spend more time if you want. We can go in there and you know, use a small brush. That's fine. So that's a landscape. That's just one kind of landscape. But any landscape, it's the same procedure. So we don't need to take workshops on how to paint landscapes, how to paint portraits, how to paint still lifes. That's silliness. I mean, you can do that if you want, but I'm trying to teach my students how to paint anything. Get the drawing right, get the values right, get the colors right, and pick a subject that's paintable. Let's go on to another subject. Okay, here's another subject. Just like our other subjects, it's not a face. We can think of it that way, but it's a series of shapes. Some of the shapes are round, some are square, some are curved. There's dark shapes, there's light shapes, there's shapes that look like horizontal lines. Let's see the shapes. All subjects, we think the same way. We don't learn how to paint what we paint by learning subjects. We learn how to get the drawing right, the values right, and the colors right. So on a portrait here, again, let's learn to choose subjects that are paintable. This is a fairly paintable subject. So if I'm going to paint this, first of all, we need a drawing. I've done a quick sketch. I'm doing very quick sketches here. And again, the thinking is get the drawing right. You take a look at the eyeball here. This is not a matter of how to paint eyeballs or how to paint portraits. It's get that shape drawn right. That shape comes in here like this, and it comes down here like that. Get that shape right. Then get this shape right. This is not an eyeball, it's a shape. Get that shape right. Get the right darkness, and pick something where the shapes aren't too complicated. So that goes in there like that. That's a drawing thing, and it's all medium, pastel, oil, acrylic, whatever. It's the same thing. Put that shape in there like that. Some people call it an eyebrow. I call it a shape. Get that shape in there like that. It's a drawing thing. So get that drawn right. That's the nostrils right there. But let's just think of it as shape. Let's get this shape drawn right. We draw that in here like this. We come in here like this. Our mouth comes up like this. And it comes across, then it drops down. This is a drawing thing. It's not technique. It's not what brush you'd use. It's not what kind of paper are you using. It's not what kind of paint are you using. Those are all the wrong questions. Get a subject we can paint that isn't too hard. Get this drawn right. This comes in here like this. It comes down here like this. And look at it. We need to look at our picture and paint what we see if we want to get a likeness. And then this is going to come down here like this. And we paint, and we're drawing this out, and we're going to paint this shape in here. Get the shape right, get the drawing right, come through here like this, come around like that, and then this comes around here like this. Again, we are not learning how to paint the portrait. We are not learning how to paint women with long hair. We're learning how to get the drawing right, get the shape right, get the value right, get the color right. Pick a subject that isn't too hard to paint. We're going to come in here like this. This fits in here like that. Get that like this. This comes down here like this. And that's going to kind of come through here like this. This comes through like that. Now let's go to a longer brush to speed this up because these are very quick sketches. So then this comes in here like this. Darken that up. That's just a simple dark shape. Get that darker like that. We come in here, got a little bit of hair shooting out here like this. That part we don't need to be so accurate. We're going to come through here like this. We come through here like this and fill that in. We got some loose hairs through here like this. Flicks out like that. And we're going to come down here like this. And this is drawing. Again, this is drawing, getting the shape right. Everything I'm teaching applies to all subjects, all mediums, oil, acrylic, watercolor, whatever. And then this comes through here like that. Get this in here like that. And again, there's nothing technique-y about this. We don't need that brush. Use any brush. It doesn't matter. Use an acrylic brush. Use an oil brush. It doesn't matter. That's not what's important. It's not the color. It's not the brand of paint or any of that stuff. Just get the drawing right. And, you know, there she is. So we simply have to get the drawing right, get the value right, get the shapes right. So my mind is not thinking, oh, I'm painting the face now. Oh, I'm painting a woman. No, it's never like that when I paint any subject. It's get the drawing right, get the values right, and then here I did a little bit larger for class. Again, it looks the same way. We could crank these out like a machine. So here's another subject. This is just a goose, and it's black and white. So part of my lessons, all of my watercolor lessons, are let's learn to choose a subject that's simple to paint. An animal is hard to paint like a portrait. Let's start out with simple to paint subjects. This one's black and white. So if we're going to paint this in black and white, the first thing we do in all subjects, same thing I just talked about in my other lessons, is get the drawing right. This has to be drawn right. Get the values right. That's a dark value. This is a medium value. This is a lighter value. Let's do that. So we draw that out. So here's a quick sketch. I'm doing very quick sketches of these, but here's the drawing, and then we come in with our brush, and we're going to just take some black paint here, and if we look at our photograph here, that is a very dark background. So we have to carefully, and again, this is a sketch, so I'm doing it quick, but basically this background is very dark, so we have to come around here, and I'm doing it quick and make a bunch of mistakes here, but I'm coming along like this, and I'm going to come around like that, and we make a nice dark background, because that's a dark background. And this is not technique. It's simply make it dark. You use your hands, your fingers, a small brush. You do this in oil painting, acrylic, whatever. This is not about technique. It's about drawing what we see. We come in here like that. That comes in here like that. So we're simply painting what we see here. Get the drawing right. Get the values right. All subjects, same principle. We don't need to learn how to paint by, again, taking classes in different subjects. Learn how to get the drawing right, not if you want realism. Get the drawing right. We're going to come down here like this. This comes down here like this. So we have to be very careful when we paint around our shape. So, and again, think of it as shapes. That's every painting, every subject has shapes, has dark shapes, medium, light shapes. We're going to come through here like this, and then we're going to come across. We come down here like this. We paint around. This is drawing skill. Now again, the same principles apply to all subject matter. We have to get the drawing right, get the values right. Come down here like this. So whatever subject you want to paint, portrait, landscape, still life, animals, flowers, whatever, first thing we have to do, find something that we can paint that isn't too hard, paint around, draw it the way it looks, and then simply fill it in. So that's going to come in here like this. This comes down here like this. There's his little foot. We got to get that drawn in here like that. We're going to come in here like that. So that's the background, okay? So here's our picture, and here's that. Get the drawing right. The next thing we need to do is we go to a medium value. This is a medium value. We're not painting feathers. We're not painting a duck. We're painting shapes. So that's a medium shape, and it needs to be lighter. So where does it fit? It fits right in here. So this has to be a medium shape. Use a small brush. You can go slow if you want, but I'm doing this quick. We're going to come down here like this. We go in there like that, get it medium, come in here like this, come along in through here, paint around the whites, come through here like that, and come in through here like that. Again, this is a quick sketch. And then his foot needs to be darkened up just a little bit, and then this a little bit in through here. And then we've got to darken up his beak. Is very dark. So let's put a nice dark beak on here like this, and a little eyeball in here. And that is essentially what we're doing. Okay, so that's a sloppy sketch, but it's a nice gesture type sketch, and there's the goose, and then here's the picture of it where I did this for my class. So this is done more carefully. There's the painting, and there's the goose. Again, we aren't thinking goose or feathers or anything. We're thinking get the drawing right, get the values right, and it's going to look just like our picture. Okay, let's move on to another subject. Here's another subject, and again, if our goal is to paint this the way it looks, get the drawing right, get the values right, We don't have to worry so much about getting the color right, but because it's a photograph, so it's not accurate color. But this is the way I'd normally start this. Here's your piece of paper, and so start out with, do your drawing. I haven't done a drawing here yet, but you put your yellow down first. There's your picture. You put your yellow down. We paint around. This is watercolor. Now oil, you would do it differently. But you put this down here like this. You come across here like this. And you establish your background. Put that in there like that. Something like that. And then in watercolor, now oil or acrylic, you do it a little bit differently. But now we're going to go in with a little bit of orange on top. And put some orange on top here like this, and then we're gonna fade that out and let the brush just run out of paint as we come down. And that's essentially what the background is. So if you look at the background of this subject and then what we're doing here, it's dark to light, and then we let that dry, and after it dries we'll put a dark line right through here. So right here, I've already done that here. So after that's dry, we'll put a dark line through here. And now we paint our trees. So the trees are very dark. Go to a darker color here. And the key thing here is, again, it's not, the thing is not how do we, it's not technique, it's get the drawing right and get the values right. This dark goes right through here. Now if you look at that, that's dark there. So we're simply painting what we see. You don't need this brush. Use any brush. It's not the brush. You know, use a smaller brush, get more detailed, paint big, paint small, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. But we simply are drawing what we see here. So that comes through here like that. Look at your drawing, and again, if our goal is to paint it the way it looks, you know, that's pretty much the way it looks, but it's very quick, very loose. Now you come in here like this. Now again, this is a very sketchy type painting. It's more like a study, but we put that in here like that, and we notice the way these edges come up. We don't need to take a workshop on how to paint palm trees. Just paint what we see, and if you take more time, we can make this look exactly the way the photograph looks. So that's going to come in here like that. A little bit higher here like that. See that? We're just painting what we see. We're come through here like this. This kind of comes out here like that, comes up here like that. And again, we could take a small brush. We can go to smaller. It doesn't matter what the brush is. We can come in here and go very slow. And if we want, we could come in here and put tiny little palm tree-like things. Okay, that's fine. But all of that technique has to be built on a correct foundation. And that foundation is what leads, not getting that foundation right is where most of our problems are. It's not technique, it's not color, it's the fact that our drawing isn't right and our values are not correct. And so then we assume we need to learn a technique on how to paint palm branches, and that is not what's going on. So again, at a glance, you know, that's looks pretty much you got to get it down here like this. Whoops, my camera slipped. But pretty much like that, and then here I did it again. This is for class, so this is done more carefully and slowly. And again, let's move on to another subject. Here's another subject. This is a handout that I've used in my classes. The students draw this out. They can make up their color, but again, as I've been repeating, the drawing needs to be right and the values need to be right. So here's the demonstration that I did. And again, it's done very quickly and loosely, but you can see when you stand back, it looks just like our picture. Now we can always change something. If you don't want to paint this way, it looks fine. Just ignore your photograph and paint a picture. But if our desire is to make something look the way it looks, we have to get an accurate drawing, an accurate value. Everywhere I go, everywhere I teach, people have a problem with their drawings. They're not accurate and they can't get their values correct. And that's the bulk of nearly everybody's problem, unless they're an advanced student. Here's another subject. Here's a subject I give my students. I have a lesson on this actually. So I have them draw this out. This is much more difficult to paint because it's more fuzzy and hazy. But they draw that out and then they have to match the get the drawing right, and they have to make up the color, but they have to get the colors have to be the right darkness. They can use any color they want. And so many students, as soon as they start painting in color, they have such a difficult time determining the value of the color. I have a lesson on different ways to figure that out. And again, here's another lesson we do. These are becoming much more difficult, more advanced. So here's a photograph, and the students have to draw this out. They have to go very carefully. In fact, I have them use these squares. They put the squares over the eye, and very slowly and carefully they have to get that eye right. And then when we go to our painting here and we put another square on top of our eyeball here, it's the same thing we've been doing throughout this lesson, is we need to get the drawing and the values correct. Now, as they move out on this subject, that we don't get so realistic. Then we get to the beard, and this is much more difficult because now we're kind of interpreting how we want to do that. Now, if we take a subject like this here, I had a student who had a difficult time and wanted to know, how do you paint grass? How do you paint all this grass that's down in here? And I said, the first thing we need to do is like we did with that eyeball. We need to look carefully at what we have there, and then we need to start painting, usually very slowly, but whether it's water or it's grass or whatever, we need to see what we have here, and we need to start carefully and slowly. We need to study and see what is going on there. And in watercolor, you paint around it, but we have to first learn to paint every little blade of grass at a time. Go very slow and see what's happening there. So to learn anything, first we have to get to know how it's built. So more difficult subjects, we have to go slow. So we start out like this, and in this case it's watercolor, so I'm painting around these little blades of grass. The key ones here, you have to pick and choose. And then as we come down, I can start maybe getting a little bit looser here and try some different approaches. But technique, for the most part, comes from really knowing our subject, knowing how to paint it the way it looks, and then we simply move to a bigger brush. We paint quicker, and the quicker we paint and the bigger the brush, we still try to paint it accurately, but we go quicker, and by going quicker, you know, our painting becomes more stylized, and then of course everyone wants to know the technique we used. But we can't build a painting on technique. Now I'm drying out the brush and I'm doing this like this, so the brush is feathered out. And that's a technique that I discovered simply by speeding up. When you have to speed up, you say, what can I do that quicker instead of drawing one at a time, so I figure out to do this. But this technique is obedient to our desire to paint what we see. So that's how that works, and then as you continue to work on it, you can come up with different techniques or kind of see what's going on. So there's that, and then here's the painting I did of it, and you can see a little bit more here what I did. And so that's the painting we did in class of the photograph. And that is pretty much it. So this is a reminder lesson I've got nothing here. I'm talking to nothing. So anyhow, this is a lesson to remind us that in all of our subjects, let's first learn how to paint it the way it looks, and then speed up, use a bigger brush, or start changing things. That's it for today.